He's a former Republican governor from Hillary Clinton's deep blue adoptive home state, and George Pataki thinks he's got what it takes to win the White House. Born in New York and raised on his family's farm, Pataki went to Yale and Columbia before beginning a lifelong career in politics. He first served as the mayor of Peekskill, his hometown, before beating the Democratic incumbent for a seat in the state legislature, where he served for 10 years. In 1994, he narrowly beat three-term incumbent governor Mario Cuomo. He was New York's governor on September 11th, and he committed to rebuilding Lower Manhattan following the terrorist attacks. After leaving office in 2007, Pataki was sent to the United Nations as part of a delegation appointed by President Bush. He opposes Obamacare and business regulation, but he says he's pro-choice and supports same-sex marriage. He says U.S. troops should be deployed overseas to fight ISIS.
I would not be averse to putting American boots on the ground to destroy their training centers and planning centers.
That's scary territory, though, with the American people. Gov, you have your two sons who serve, but Americans are very shy about being on the ground in a war that they believe is not theirs.
Absolutely, and rightly so, but it is our war.
Can he convince conservative voters that he's got what it takes?
Hello and welcome to another day in paradise. Today I want to speak with you about my experience being kicked out of the United States of America many years ago. But first I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share and click the bell notification. Now, the gentleman you just saw in the video at the beginning of this video is a gentleman by the name of Senator George Pataki. He is a United States Senator, but he used to be the governor of the state of New York 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. And this is a story I haven't really spoken to many people about. Very little people know about this. It's the first time I'm actually speaking to the public about it. So I've been emboldened essentially by E Vlogs, who I follow, who came out with his story about him being deported from the UK. And I'm going to put a link in the description actually about his experience. He speaks about it. I thought it was a very brave thing to speak about, so yeah, he's inspired me to start speaking about my story. Where do I start? Okay, so I went to university in the United States, as many people know. I spent 4 years there. But what not a lot of people know is that I spent 4 years there, but I spent 1 year in high school, because you finish high school when you're 16 in the UK. Okay, so I couldn't go straight into university. I had to do 1 more year of high school in the United States, and then I completed 3 years of university. The 4th year I didn't complete. Why didn't I complete it? Well, I went to university at Manhattan College, and I was planning to finish off my last year in Syracuse in upstate New York. And there were lots of, at that time, you got to remember, this was the early 1990s. So there were a lot of people, a lot of foreigners who were planning to go for the first time to America. A lot of them moving there, a lot of Japanese students, a lot of, who else? Russian students, believe it or not. I made a lot of Russian friends over there, German friends as well, who had never left, who'd only just received the right to leave the old East German bloc. So they'd only been free for, 3-4 years before I'd met them. They'd never left that country, and now all of a sudden they've got the whole world at their hands. So anyway, I'll make I'll make a long story short. So in my last year, I went to a protest, and the protest was all about the Republican government cutting funds to students like myself, students that had come from abroad who were spending lots of money. Okay, I hadn't spent a lot of money. I didn't have to. I got a scholarship to play basketball in the United States, so I didn't have to pay for it. But the students that I didn't take care of, but we had an unofficial sort of group of foreign students that took care of each other, who were from all over the world, and we went to protest this. And so we went to Albany, which is the capital city of New York State. We went to Albany and we went to protest in front of City Hall. And the gentleman who came out, who was the governor, came out off the hall, surrounded by security. It wasn't, you know, back in those days, the LA riots, yeah, were probably a one-off, but riots were never like normally. Anything there was nothing violent, and the police weren't violent as well. And we were students anyway, we were foreign students, so we knew we couldn't get into trouble. But I don't care about that. What do I care about that? So anyway, to make a long story short, I spat at him. And I still don't regret doing it. He's a POS for what he did. Cutting funds so he could. He's a billionaire, by the way. You can look him up. You can look him up. He's a multi-billionaire Republican senator, and he essentially cut funds for students who are already paying exuberant amounts of money to go to university there, and small things like for just to help us, because the students lived normal lives. Okay, they lived reasonably normal lives. Okay, but they were bringing in a lot more money than that. They were taking from these universities, and essentially this governor was making it easier for universities to cut funding to international students who were already living on the line, and really took going to university in the United States of America as something which was a privilege to them, but they didn't want to be used, you understand? So anyway, I spat at Senator George Pataki, and it landed on him, and yeah, the security personnel didn't see who did it, but they pointed out at one of my good friends. His name's Takuya Yukida, a Japanese student that was there right next to me. I knew him very well. Very quiet, very polite spoken guy, really nice guy. And they grabbed him, and I just got stuck in straight away. And he didn't even protest his innocence. He didn't. But I went around and I told the police that it was me that did it, that it was me. So they arrested both of us, ultimately, threw us in prison. I was in prison in the Catskills for about a month. Now, I'm not sure if you know, if you've ever heard of the Catskill jailhouse. You got the jailhouse, jail and prison. Jail and prison are two different things. Okay, so jail is a place, a big room where prisoners are held all together. They're not normally held there for long periods of time, for up to 3 months. You can be held into a jailhouse in New York State. A prison is different. The prison is where you have little individual cells, where you have a cellmate and you stay there for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, a lifetime. Pretty crap place to be. So I was in a jailhouse. They took me to a jailhouse. Me and Takuya, I stayed in there for about a month, and it was hell for me because I'd never been locked up ever before. It was the first ever situation I'd ever been locked up. But yeah, it was a crazy situation. And I can still remember to this day not knowing what was going to happen, you know. And I remember after a month, 2 feds came into the jailhouse, you know. It was hot, it was summer. I don't know if you've ever been to New York during the summertime, but it gets bloody hot there. So it was really hot there. And yeah, two federal agents came in and said, they called out my name. I said, yeah. They're like, we got a first-class ticket for you back to London, like that. I was like, go on. So happy. I just didn't want to be there anymore. And I was just happy to be returning back home. And I knew once I was back at home, I could just easily pop back into the United States, which wasn't the case actually. They essentially banned me from going back there to the United States for 10 years. 10 years. So I couldn't go back to the United States for 10 years. And to be honest with you, I didn't have any really crushing desire to go back there anyway. But I did want to finish my schooling. I finished it whilst I was in the United Kingdom without the internet. Think about this. These are back in the days when there was no internet. So I finished my schooling. I had to pay for the last year because I wasn't playing in collegiate basketball. So I had to pay for the last year. And yeah, that was kind of a crap situation. Crap situation. But my experience was largely successful. There were guys inside there. I know this one guy was from Saudi Arabia who was a stayover, and they were just going to send him back, but he was trying to get himself some leniency so he could stay there because he would get killed. They would murder him, you know, as soon as he got back to Saudi Arabia. I don't know what ever came of him. I hope he was okay. I never spoke to Takuya Yukido as well. If you're watching this, Takuya, you know, it'd be really nice to hear from you. I hope you're okay. I had, I didn't want to say this, but yeah, I had a girlfriend at the time, lovely girl, came over to London to see me as well. I hope she's fine. I hope everyone's fine from those times. But anyway, back to it. It's a different kettle of fish, you know, getting arrested in a different country because you haven't got your family there most of the time to come and help you. So you need to be more respectful to the rules, you know. E, I know this guy, I don't know him too well, but he's I think he lived in London because he was arrested in the UK and deported from the UK back to Africa. His girlfriend went and followed him there. Lovely girl. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a link below to their channel. So he was in a similar situation. But listen, if you're in America, you're in the United Kingdom, anywhere in Europe, okay, you get arrested there, you're going to get a certain standard of care there, okay? Going to prison in the UK is not nice because you're locked inside a prison where you can't leave, but the standard of your food, your keep, the gym facilities, the gym, everything, it's like you're in some sort of club scout school or something. It's crazy there. In Europe, prison is not a deterrent. It's not meant to be a deterrent. It's supposed to be more of rehab. It's supposed to rehabilitate you so you can be absorbed back into society. Not like in the United States, where they harden you up and they want you to go out and they want you to reoffend, because they make money from each of those prisoners. They make a lot of money, and they make it through tax dollars, and they take it through the tax dollars. It's just amazing the way these billionaires are milking the American public of every penny they've got. Crazy. Anyways, that was my experience. I have been back to the States on a number of different occasions since then, and fell out of love with the country, really. I fell out of love. I think the last time I went was back in 2007. I went to Florida, and I was like, is this what you got? I wasn't impressed, anyway. Where else did I go? Florida. I'm sure I've been somewhere else as well. I've been there twice. Know that. Perhaps Florida on both occasions. Can't remember. But anyway, yeah, I've been back twice. Not impressed. And so I didn't really plan on going back there to live at any point. Not like they'd throw a visa my way anyway, throw a green card my way, but who cares? World's a big place. And yeah, I've got family over there, but you know, there's only a few of them that I like. So back to my point. These places, it's okay to be arrested and to be in those situations, but you don't want to end up in a prison cell in the Gambia. You don't want to end up in a prison cell in Lagos or in Accra, because you will go through a world of hurt in those places. You will really go through a world of hurt. So my advice is to you is to stay out of trouble. Focus on what you've got to do. If you've got your family over there, even better. Focus on your family. Stay away from any criminality, even though it's very tempting over there, because you essentially have the links to the West, okay? You have a passport, you could just pop out and pop back in whenever you feel like. A lot of people are going to see you as gold. Don't do it. Stay away from crime. Stay away from anything which could lead to you going to prison. Just play by the rules. You've already got one up already. You're from the West. Do what you got to do. Just stay out of trouble. Anyway, I'm glad I got that off my chest. So thank you for listening once again. And yeah, I'll speak to you in the next one. Ta-ra a bit.